Hello and welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Thursday Thoughts? What on earth are they, I hear you ask? Well, my friend Lucy and I meet every week over on Instagram to talk all things personal growth because she is as obsessed with it as I am. And we decided that we might as well put those conversations out as a weekly podcast. So now you can listen to us chat here on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we'll be talking about topics such as spirituality, limiting beliefs, the ego, imposter syndrome, gratitude, meditation, confidence, and so much more. So if you're ready, here we go.
We are talking about embracing your inner weirdo. It's so funny when my sister said to me this morning, "What are you talking about this morning?" And I said, "Embracing your inner weirdo." And she was like, "Well, you shouldn't find that too hard then." Ha 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 ha. And it's just one of those subjects. I suppose it's actually very closely linked to authenticity. But certainly from my perspective, in fact, Annie and I were just talking about this because I said to her, she has actually always embraced her inner weirdo, even from when we were kids. And actually, you may have something to say about this because you were at school together. So for anyone listening, randomly, Polly and I didn't even know when we first met that my sister and you were at school together, which is just so crazy. And I said to Annie that I thought she had, like when I was a teenager, for example, I was far too busy acting in a way that I thought would be pleasing to the people around me or whichever bloke I happened to fancy at the time. So I was kind of dumbing myself down or not really being the true version of myself. Whereas my sister was always very eccentric. She's always had that kind of, eccentric side of her, which is just what makes her who she is. But I always really kind of admired the fact that she just leaned into that. She never tried to hide it. And if anything, it made her life when we were teenagers more difficult perhaps than my life was. But actually it kind of paid off for her in the end because it's, she is like, she does embrace her inner weirdo and always has. And that's a really, really great thing. Whereas it took me a lot longer to get to the point where I felt confident enough in myself to be able to just be who the fuck I am. And it's been, much more recently that I've actually gone, do you know what? I am just going to show up at 100% as myself because it's just too exhausting not to. That isn't to say that I've spent my life being someone I'm not, but certainly around certain people, I have felt like I couldn't be myself. But I think it also boils down to when you are around people who you feel completely comfortable with, it's a lot easier to embrace. So, with my kind of best girlfriends, like, take, for example, one of my best friends in the whole world, Hannah, who has always known exactly what I'm like through and through and has always accepted it and always just kind of laughed about it. So I think we're talking about those parts of ourselves that are perhaps a bit mad or a bit weird or a bit odd that we often think aren't acceptable to the world. And actually, those are exactly the things about ourselves that we should be really just fucking going all out on because A, it's who we are, and B, it's kind of what makes us unique. And actually, if you lean into those things that make you a bit weird or that make you a bit different, they can kind of be a superpower. And I've certainly found over the last sort of 4 or 5 years of really just going, do you know what? This is who I am. I'm not going to dumb myself down anymore. It makes life so much easier and so much more enjoyable. And then what happens, and this is something you and I have talked about a lot, what then happens is that the people who are your people, they gravitate towards you, and you find the people who are meant to be around you because those people love all parts of you and they don't think you're weird. They just think it's hilarious. Do you know what I mean? I'm just trying to think about sort of specific things about me, and then obviously we'll go on to the things that make you a weirdo, because we all have them. That's the thing. We're all complete fucking weirdos. I think inherently we're all just complete weirdos underneath it. When we're completely honest, we're all weird. We all do strange things. We all have unusual things about us. We all have odd things about us that we do. And so for me, the example that I always use, and I've talked about this on my podcast several times, is that I've always, and actually speaking of my sister, we both have this tendency to have this kind of childlike wonder about the world and this sort of ridiculous over enthusiasm, and I get like ridiculously excited about really silly things, which I think is actually a great quality to have. And now I can look at it and think I'm actually so lucky that I have that, and I really like that about myself. Whereas there was a time where I felt that being really over enthusiastic or getting really excited about something wasn't cool, or wasn't, it was just weird. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Like, you're such a freak. So that is always one of the ones that kind of comes up for me. But yeah, so I think that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I suppose it's a subject that's quite close to my heart, because I definitely consider myself to be a total weirdo in lots of ways. But actually, I've now come to realize that it's a good thing, and that we should all be embracing our inner weirdo. Anyway, over to you.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, yes, I suppose what we're talking about here is that it's very easy, isn't it, to move through life not revealing all parts of yourself because you feel like you shouldn't, because you want to fit in to whatever environment you're in. And
Yeah.
yes, I have done this all my life. Just been afraid to reveal all parts of me, but I suppose part of that is like knowing all parts of you. So yes, a good place to start is, what are you like with with the people who you spend most of your time with, who you are completely 100% yourself with, and who know you the best. That is who you are.
Yeah.
And do you change yourself according to different people you're
You're weird.
with or different groups you're in? And if that's the case, and I've done this so much through my life because I wanted to fit in, because I wasn't sure about who I was, I think a lot of it. But as I've got older and as I've kind of know myself better, yeah, I understand all parts of me a lot more. And I think, yes, I'm much more confident just to be who I am, because I think, life's too damn short not to
Yeah.
be. Um, and we've all got, it's just knowing all parts of you and allowing them to be revealed and showed and displayed, and to be proud of them, and to, yes, those parts of you particularly, which maybe could be criticized. And I think, being kids and teenagers are a really good example. It could be those parts of you which someone might have made a comment on about, oh gosh, look at you, or you think you're too big for your boots, or whatever that might be. And so you dumb that down as you go through your life because someone's made some sort of criticism about it. But, I'm just thinking of my daughter, who's definitely got a very big inner weirdo. And I love it when I see it come out when she's in her friendship group, because I'm like, yes, just be, show it, be you. Don't try not to just be bland and boring like everybody else, because it's too boring, isn't it? If we're all just fitting in and being dull. And I think, I think for me, growing up, I've said this many times before, I was really very shy. So just wanted to sort of, almost a lot of the time, particularly in big groups, unless I knew the people very well, I would kind of want to shrink back and sort of slightly blend into the background. But when I was been with people who truly know me, yes, that side of me comes out. But I've got to bring this up, Lucy, because I was during my clearing out of my decluttering in preparation for my house move, I found an old journal, I've worked out, it was when I was 14 in this journal. And it's just been so
Oh my God.
fascinating to read. It basically documents all my first kisses,
Oh my
the
God.
first time I got drunk, all of this sort of stuff. But anyway, in there, and I thought this was quite relevant, sort of, I've written a poem. And it's called, oh, hold on, I've lost the page
Oh my
now.
God.
This poem, it was written, I think this has been, so if I was 14, anyway, I'll show you, it's in my diary. There it is.
Oh my
And
God.
it's called Me by Me.
Oh
So
my God.
it's not very long. Shall I read it? It's really
Please
funny.
do.
But I
Please
think
do.
the thing with this, what's quite interesting about this poem is there was obviously lots of parts of me I did not like. And so just put in context, so when I was 30, probably about a year before I wrote this poem, I went on holiday and I put sun
Oh
in. I
my
don't know
God,
if you remember, there was this thing called
I
sun,
used to,
put it in my hair and I put two bottles of sun in my hair and it went really, really blonde and then it went orange and then it kind of was a real pain. So I started at the school I went to with Annie. So I had this blonde hair and then it started to get orange. I've got these weird flappy bits on my eyes, which my sister and my dad both have, and so we call them overlapping eyes. They,
what?
my parent, anyway, it's just kind of like it's like just a little bit of extra skin,
I've
but
never noticed.
it's nothing major. Anyway, so it's all of my insecurities coming out in this poem, and it just really made me laugh because as a 14-year-old, I was still able to sort of bring some sort of lightness to it. And the best thing about this is at the end, I've written, always look on the bright side of life. So I'm going to read you the
Oh
poem.
my
So this is called Me by Me, Polly at 14. Oh, why can't, oh, and I also had terrible handwriting, as you can see. Oh, why can't I write properly? It just isn't fair. I have a great problem, just like my hair. Last year I dyed my hair and it was supposed to have gone blonde. Instead of going fair, my poor hair went orange, spelled Oronge. My eyes are overlapping and look like fresh cow pats. My lips are double and jumbo and look like two huge bats. Now, I think I'll stop complaining about my ugly face and hair. I've been driven to desperation, so I'll dive deep into despair. And then I finish, always look on the bright side of life.
Oh my
So,
God,
anyway, it's
that's
hilarious.
hilarious.
So, I just thought that was funny because as a 14-year-old, obviously, I had all these hang ups, all these insecurities. And y yes, I think we all have those. But I suppose now, the person that I am now, and if I could go back and talk to that 14-year-old version of myself, I would just say, embrace all of those parts of you. Don't worry about it. That's what makes you you. That's what makes you special and
Yeah.
unique. And now, I do embrace all those parts of me. Um, so isn't it interesting though that you just, as we grow up, we hold on to those insecurities, but anyway, I was so delighted that I was able to write a little poem and
That's so,
it's kind of
so-
like,
that's so cool. That's so
mm,
funny to read. I mean, it's so weird, isn't it, when you read stuff that you wrote? Because I've got diaries as well from when I was much younger, and they're at my mum's in Dorset. I mean, I'm in London at the moment, but living in Dorset at the moment, and all my kind of I've got a whole trunk full of stuff down there, which I kind of delve into. But it's almost like a storage box. But one thing I was going to say, you've mentioned your daughter and your teenagers, and actually, my sister who has four kids, three of whom are got triplets who are literally about to be 18 next month, and then a 21-year-old. And what is hilarious is that they, I've always been a really big part of their life because I've always lived, I've always spent a lot of time with them, for their whole lives, and they used to think I was like the coolest thing and the coolest person on the planet. And now I'm just one giant embarrassment. Now I see, and it's so funny because if I'm doing something that they think is weird, like, I don't know, I often kind of sing loudly or, like put a song on, kind of sing into my hairbrush or a wine bottle or, just being ridiculous, whatever, however that looks. And whereas they used to find that amusing, now it actually, and it can be quite painful when teenagers give you that kind of snarly look of like, you are such a freak, Auntie Lou, what is wrong with you? And but actually initially I was like, oh my god, this is just outrageous, this is just, and this kind of really hurts. And now I'm just like, actually it makes me want to play up, even it makes me want to do it even more, just to wind them up even more. But it's funny how, you know when you are with teenagers, when you're now our age, how they sort of look at you like you are a total freak. And I remember you saying to me ages ago how you always feel like you're the one in your family that gets the kind of piss taken out of them, like, constantly. And we were talking about how you actually have to develop a really thick skin when it comes to teenagers and their opinions of you.
Oh God. Oh my God. Yes. I mean, your skin has to thicken massively.
Yeah.
My thing is I'm constantly dancing around the kitchen, and I constantly sort of like shimmy up to them and they are literally just like, oh my God, just will you not do that? They're just looking at me with disgust and just like, I'm like, come on, dance with me. This is good. Or, and I, I bet you know the words to every single song. I'm someone who does not know
Like,
the word to any single song, and it drives me insane because I love music. I love singing. I can't sing for a note, but I love to sing. But I don't know the words because I just can't seem to remember them. But what I do is I just make up my own
you.
words. So, so and again, they're just like, oh my God, you're so weird. But I do that with friends when we're out and if we're somewhere and there's music and I'll just make the words up and just sing along. But I have one friend in particular who just knows the word to every single song. And she literally is like singing them to me because she knows so much that it just annoys me so much because I can't remember.
That would absolutely be me. I'm famous among friends for knowing song lyrics, and I because music's always been my thing, and I do tend to know the lyrics of every single song.
Mm.
And it's some yeah. I mean that is definitely a superpower, and I love that. And in fact, Annie doesn't. So it's definitely always been that I'm the one that knows the words to songs, and she doesn't. But no, it is funny how you just like with your kids, they're just like cringe city. It's like I can completely imagine because I do things like that with my nephews, in particular Blue, my niece, isn't so bad because I think we're more like sisters, but the boys just are just like, oh God, what are you doing? um Actually, Polly, I was going to ask you, you were going to talk about your penchant for fancy dress, which is one aspect of your inner weirdo, which and I absolutely loathe fancy dress. I can't bear it, but we are so opposite in so many ways, but somehow our friendship works. But fancy dress for me, like my idea of hell. I can't bear it. I think it's one of those things that is quite Marmite that you either love it or hate it. I'm just like, oh God, I can't bear it.
Well,
Which probably reflects on me quite badly. But I know you love it, and that's part of you embracing your inner weirdo.
yeah, well, it's such a weird thing. I wonder, well, I look back, I think we've always had fancy dress parties. We've always had sort of themes. God, we even used to do a Christmas party when I was in my 20s in my flat every year with all of our mates before we all went home for Christmas. I'd always do it in my flat. People, we'd do a big turkey, get everyone would have to wear Christmas jumpers. And so I've always kind of had this thing of like, and my dad I know my dad listens to this podcast and he's a massive lover of fancy dress and he will always embrace it. He particularly likes he would particularly like dressing up as women. He listens to this podcast.
Does he? So he
Yes.
listens to Thursday
He
Thoughts.
listens to Thursday Thoughts. He does.
Oh my God,
Yes.
I need to stop swearing.
No,
I'm so sorry.
he doesn't mind. I'm sure he doesn't mind. Anyway, hi Dad. Hi Daddy. He's listening. But he's always really made an effort with fancy dress. He's definitely got some inner lesbian desperate to get out. And yeah, I've always just really enjoyed it. And I think being with Giles also for so long, he's someone who really enjoys it. And what we enjoy more is the planning, the preparation, the creativity of it. So it's kind of all the little details of an outfit. It's kind of planning all the bits. And I think that's the bit we really enjoy is kind of creating something. And then, yeah, you've just got to sort of embrace it and wear it. So this weekend we're off to Wilderness Festival. So actually yesterday I was thinking, I've really left it to the last minute, but I was thinking, right, what am I going to wear? And there's themes. There's like, one of the days is Into the Woods and the other day is Celestial. So I'm kind of so I've kind of been planning my little outfits. They're not completely out there, but I just like to, I don't know, I suppose it just makes me feel it gives me a feeling of like, yes, this is good fun. For me, it's just good fun. And yeah, it is a bit of it's just something I like to do, but but so many people hate it. And I know that.
Yeah.
So it's just, you just got to do with, I just like the creativity of it and the fact that it's just and not it's just out of the norm. You're doing something different. You're not just going, just, it's like you're not really worrying what people think. It's a real opportunity just to really let loose.
Yeah.
And maybe because I've always been quite reserved through my life and have worried about what people think, maybe for me it's an opportunity this is all literally just coming into my mind, but maybe it's an opportunity to go, fuck it. I'm just going to be this person, or, so yeah,
It's so,
that's,
it's so interesting hearing you talk about it because as I say, it literally could not be further from something that I don't relate at all to the creation of putting an outfit together. And I suppose it reflects the way that I dress in real life, which is jeans and a t-shirt, jeans and a t-shirt, jeans and a t-shirt. Like, so actually maybe it makes total sense because I'm not the kind of person that's like, today I'm going to put this with this and I'm going to wear this necklace and this ring. I'm like, I literally have one ring. I have one necklace that I wear every day. And I'm actually a very boring dresser. I'm either like in a check shirt or a t-shirt, always jeans. It has to be 45 degrees to get me in a dress. Well, actually, no, that's not entirely true. But it kind of suddenly it kind of makes sense when you were talking about the process of like putting an outfit together. That to me just it's funny though, isn't it? How that just does not appeal to me whatsoever. In the same way that putting together a meal that takes 3 hours does not appeal to me whatsoever. Whereas you probably find great pleasure in putting together a delicious meal for your family. Whereas if I never had to cook again, that would be awesome. So horses for horses, mate. Horses for courses.
can I just say
Yeah.
the meal thing, that does not press my buttons. Yes, no.
No, conversation. I didn't. So are you not into cooking either?
A very quick break to ask you to hit the follow or subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're enjoying this episode, I'd be super grateful if you could hit those stars and rate it too. Thank you. No, not. I mean, I cook because I have to. Occasionally, I will really enjoy the process, but very occasionally. But because I suppose I've had to cook pretty much for so many people, well, a family
Yeah.
every day. It just because I don't enjoy. No, I think if I was going to enjoy it, I would know that by now. I think I probably will enjoy it more when I don't have to cook for everybody all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, having said that, this last weekend I've not had any kids; they're all away doing other things, and so I did actually put together some really gorgeous salads and stuff yesterday just for me and Giles, and actually that was actually quite enjoyable. So yes, maybe when I don't have to do it, I might enjoy it a little bit more.
Do you know? I've just
Right.
thought of one thing but would quite a lot of people, for both you and I, that we both do, that quite a lot of people would consider being very fucking weird, and that's getting up at 5 in the morning. Which
Yeah,
you get up at 5:27, I get up at 5, and that is definitely something that people are so quick to dismiss it and be like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Why would you want to get up at 5? And I totally get it because it's never pleasant getting up at 5. But for example, this morning, my accountability, well, I have two accountability buddies, and Victoria called me this morning, and I'd said to her, I'd messaged her yesterday saying, can you make sure that you phone me? Because if normally I phone her, and sometimes she has to phone me if I like don't wake up and completely fail to wake up, and then she'll phone me. And anyway, yesterday I was like, can you phone me because I'm at my sister's and therefore I don't have my alarm clock for deaf people, so I may not wake up with just my phone. But this morning, classic example, got up at 5. I'd said to Annie, do you feel like going for an early walk? And we went for the most beautiful walk. We went for a 6.5K walk right the way around Hyde Park at 6 o'clock this morning. It was absolutely gorgeous. And it was, it is the most stunning, it obviously is where you are as well. It's the most beautiful day here in London. It's absolutely gorgeous. And walking into Hyde Park at 6 in the morning, when there's, the sun isn't even up, there's just a few, or not properly up, there's just a few people kind of running and walking dogs, and it was just absolute heaven. And I looked at her on the way back, and I was like, it's only 7:10. It's 7:10 in the morning. So for anyone who's like, oh my God, you're a weirdo for getting up at 5 o'clock, well, that's why I
yeah.
embrace part of my inner weirdo because it's freaking amazing.
Was exactly the same this morning. So my alarm went off at 5:27, and it was one of those. Normally, I'm very good. I kind of just get straight up. This morning, I actually dozed back for a bit, but then I think Giles prodded me because we had planned to go to the gym together, and I was just like, I said, well, should we just go for a swim? And then I was like, well, I haven't actually done any exercise all weekend. I really need to move my body, and I'll go for a swim later. So actually, he said, come on. So we went, and I did a really good strength workout. I ran for a little bit, and it felt so good this morning. So weird. I thought it was going to feel so hard, but I didn't want to do it, and I just did it. And I felt so good afterwards. It was amazing. And then I came home, I sat in the garden, I did a breath work, or I facilitated breath work first, and then I did a breath work myself. And yes, and now I'm talking to you, and it's like, gosh, all those things we've already done.
And start the day, and it's Monday morning, and you've done that, and it's 9:27 in the morning. It is just, I literally could talk about morning routines forever. In fact, I could start a blooming podcast on morning routines. And I know you could too. It's something that both you and I get. I swear to God, we talk about it every single episode, don't we? But it's because it really is the best thing in the world. It changes your life. It makes your life better. I don't care who you are. It makes your life better. Whether you have kids, whether you don't have kids, whether you're a morning pet, and also we've talked about this as well. Like, I do not believe there is such a thing as being a morning person or not, because I was never ever
me neither.
a morning person. I was literally the polar opposite. I was the person that never got out of bed and would always roll out of bed at the last minute. And that, you and I were both at boarding school. I remember I had to get my friends to get me out of bed in the morning at boarding school, and it was the same at home. I was always the last one up out of me and my brother and my sister. I just was never good in the mornings. And so I am absolute proof that anybody, you make a choice to be a morning person. It's as simple as that. You make a choice.
Yeah,
If you want it, you change into a morning person, and it's a bit of adjustment, doesn't it?
Yeah. You have to think about the night before. Obviously, that's a big part of it. It's not just getting up in the morning. You've obviously got to think about your night before, what time you're going to bed. But by getting up in the morning early, you are so ready to go to bed earlier anyway. So you can take a little bit of adjustment. But the thing is, it just starts your morning in a way that is on your terms. You're on nobody else's terms. You're doing something for yourself. You're creating that space for yourself. So you're not starting that day stressed, rushing. You're doing something really lovely for yourself, whatever that might be. And can I just say, I'm going to do a little plug here. That's why I've changed my my breathwork sessions, which I facilitate on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to 7:30 a.m. So it allows you to create that a regular routine. It creates that inner space within you to start that day on the right foot. So, and I was kind of doing it at different times, but I actually think, I really truly believe by doing it in the morning, you're setting yourself up for a really truly great day. You're setting that intention of like, yes, okay, I'm going to start calmly. And ultimately you achieve more. You absolutely achieve more. And everyone says, oh, we should all try and do less. But actually, I don't believe that. I think we can achieve as much, if not more, if we set ourselves up for a great day and we do that inner work, creating that inner space. It gives you that edge to do more. If you don't do it, you probably feel like you're doing more, but you're actually probably doing less.
Yeah. Oh my God, Polly, 100%. I literally could talk about this subject until the cows come home. Like, honestly, I could talk about this 24/7, 365. It is just, it's a game changer. It's just the best. So I am so glad that I discovered Hal Elrod and the Miracle Morning 4 or 5 years ago. And I am so grateful that I got my first accountability buddy, Michaela, who I love to pieces, who lives in Wales. We barely knew each other before we started doing it. And we took it in turns to call each other. And it was the best thing I ever did. And so, yeah, I feel like we haven't talk that much about embracing our inner weirdo, but hey, there we go, embracing our inner weirdo, going completely off topic.
Exactly. Well, I think we get the gist of what I think it just basically means do the things that are the things that light you up and the things that make you you, and not to be afraid of showing and revealing those parts. I think that ultimately is it,
Was
isn't it?
it you that was talking on one of the, and I know we're going to stop because we've gone 1 minute over, but was it you, were you talking about this on a Monday Motivation not so long ago about the guy who, when we talk about comfort zones, about the guy that lay down in the street every day for a month or something? Was that you? Or was
No,
that someone?
I don't think that was me.
Oh my God, I don't know who the hell I was having. I honestly, I speak to so many different people every day, like from the podcast, my membership. I just have so many conversations with so many people in my life that I forget who said what. Anyway, I was talking to somebody who was talking about comfort zones, and somebody was telling me about a guy who basically decided to like lie down in the middle of the high street in his local town every day for a month or whatever it was, in order to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because frankly, what a brilliant way to get used to being uncomfortable. Lying down. I mean, I'm sure it was you. I can't remember. God knows. Anyway, there you go.
Oh, anyway. Well, yeah, great. Thank you. Another Monday motivation
In,
done. Have a beautiful day on this sunny day. Finally, the sun is
I know,
shining.
so beautiful.
I
Well, look,
know.
have a great day, and I'll see you this time next week. We don't know what we're talking about next week, but we'll think of something.
Yes.
By the way, if anyone ever wants to suggest anything, feel free to write it in the comments.
Y
All
yes.
people who are watching.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let us know.
All right.
All right, my love. Have a lovely day.
See you later.
Bye.
Lots
Bye.
of bye. Bye.